Good evening. It's April 28th, 2023. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
Nope, I got nothing to do.
We have a boomer, not just any boomer.
We have a living boomer.
We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
Good evening.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm still learning. That's three unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. We're back. Our boomer is alive, and he's finally getting better. Asshole and I apologize for not getting to part 2, breakdown of our special report about cops using 911 calls to charge people with the crime. So they're using your 911 calls to convict you. So go watch that. We didn't do the second part because we figured you got the gist of it with the first part, and obviously we were dealing with a lot with, you know, Boomer was still pretty sick back then. Yeah, he was still pretty sick back then.
I'm less sick now.
He's been getting better, so we've decided we're going to start doing 2 nights a week. So we're going to be doing Tuesdays and Fridays from now on. And we can add days in as he gets better, and as it gets easier for us to do the show more. But we figure 2 days a week is easy enough. Fridays we'll do just the news, and then Tuesdays we'll do deep dives on things.
So we're going to do Taco Tuesday and Fish Friday. Nobody's taking a hint.
Let's dig right into the trash. So basically what I'm talking about is everything that's happened over the period of time of which we were off air.
Yep. So, but remember, there's some people we can't talk about, right? Like the prominent whiner in Florida, the Great White Dope.
I don't think that's going to last. I don't go to Florida. Florida's an open-air shithole.
Okay,
no,
so
Florida's a place that major companies ought to be leaving.
But they don't. For some reason, it's weird. It's like corporations don't have a soul, just like everyone who lives in Florida.
It's not something that happens instantly. If this continues in Florida, you're going to see major companies leave.
Okay, so what's Florida been up to?
What have they not been up to?
Started into that. One of the things that is Florida's trying to pass a bill.
Florida's losing to a mouse.
That requires bloggers who write about Ron DeSantis and other officials to register with state or face fines. So I would consider this a free speech issue. You shouldn't have to register to do any of this. So I don't think that's going to go through. But
so we talked about the Great White Dope.
Well, pretty sure that only covers Florida. I don't really think he can send cops out here to fine us or whatever, so I don't give a shit.
I think Great White Dope is the perfect description.
So we have a good deal going.
He's losing his fight to Disney and pissing people off left and right. Remember that Don't Say Gay bill that was just for, 0 through 3rd graders? Yeah, okay, no, that's in every high school there now. It's been pushed up to the 12th grade.
This is a characteristic of the rethugs. They spent all of 2020 telling you, well, no, we'd never do that, or we'd never do that, or we'd never do that. And they've now done everything. Yep. Right? And this is at some point you have to ask yourself, how stupid are the American people? Mm-hmm. So.
On this, yeah.
I think, like TV, no one goes broke betting the dumbest.
Betting on the dumb, yeah. It's a sucker born every minute.
Well, and Democrats can't get any effective change going for anybody, so why on earth...
Can't even propose it. Yep. And that's driving me crazy.
So things are not going well in Florida. More on that later. Okay.
Well, and the thing to remember is, especially like with Disney, Disney is Florida's largest employer.
Yeah.
And they've got They are the
largest single taxpayer in Florida. If Disney decides to take North Carolina up on their offer and leave, Florida's in a world of hurt, and you won't be able to sell a property in Orlando.
Just close the doors and lay off everyone who isn't a groundskeeper.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on.
Take out the stuff you can take out.
Don't do any of that. Just don't operate.
Okay.
Their taxes are almost certainly based on what their sales are. So, just pay the taxes on the land.
Well, and if they change that, you disable everything there and sell the land.
Okay, let's move on to anti-abortion laws and upcoming cases. So these anti-abortion laws are getting more prevalent and worse. Florida
This is exactly what they told you they wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
No, we never think of eliminating the
This is what the good
exception for the
conservatives
life of the
pretended they
mother.
would stop the crazies from doing, and
that's
it was
right.
always a lie.
And they didn't even start to do that. Oh, we'd never ban the prescription abortion.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
Yep,
we would,
Texas is pushed through, and it went through their Supreme Court. So
it
now it's
went
going to
through
the
a
American
Trump,
Supreme
it went
Court.
through a Trumpissy judge who was a federal judge, by the way.
Turns out it's a real ass judge.
Well, and now it's up to the American Supreme Court, and they kicked it back down. It's going to get kicked back up. So we'll see how this plays out and what the Supreme Court is eventually going to do with it. They bought themselves some more time to think by sending it back down. So I don't know. This is concerning as shit because, mifepristone is a very important drug that women need. And, you know, it's used for several things, and it's just not good. And then there's just a lot. I mean, we'll cover them as they pop up, but you guys have seen what's going on in the news. It's not pretty.
Well, and again, it's exactly the things that the House Republicans, you know, indoor Republicans, said they weren't going to let happen, and it has happened.
Yeah, and Florida is now
So-
dropping their abortions to 6 weeks. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Which
people
is a total
were
ban.
warned.
Democrats have never let other Democrats
No,
mandate
no.
gay marriage or anything else.
And they're
What the
also
fuck?
they're also proposing the death penalty for those who give or get abortions.
Mm-hmm.
They have in place restrictions on on travel
Yep.
for underage girls.
They're
for
going to start with the
abortion.
underage girls because you always do.
Because you're protecting the
They're minors.
children.
Yep.
Whenever somebody says, "What about the children?" punch them and run. They're lying to you about something.
No, they're using that
Yeah.
to do something they want
That's
to
what
do.
I say. They're lying to you.
All right.
If they say,
so here's
"What
my
about the children?"
suggestion to the
then that's
local
not an
Democrats
argument.
in these various counties and states is keep an eye on your Republican friends and make sure that if their daughters leave the state for an abortion, they pay the full price when they come back. Because you can drive them out of the state that way.
It is a wretched place we've come to.
Again, they can solve the problem by leaving,
Yeah.
right? And then they're not in office anymore.
I'll
So,
endorse everybody.
yeah.
All right. This leads right into anti-LGBTQ legislation, which is going the same way as abortion laws.
No, it's going exactly the same way they went in Germany in 1933 and 34. This is the Nazi party platform.
You need to stop saying no and saying yes, and it is exactly like
Sorry,
blah, blah, blah,
right.
because what I'm saying is not wrong. You're agreeing with me. So you're just using the wrong word. Okay. So, yes, the anti-LGBTQ legislation is getting ridiculous. So many states now have anti-drag, public drag show laws, which is ridiculous. These have been around for decades and decades. People enjoy them. They're fun. It's good for the kids. It's good for the people. It's fun. If you've never been to a drag show,
Go, they're fun.
you're wrong. Like, it's fun. And I've personally never been to a drag show, and I'm wrong, and I want to go to one, but I've never really had the opportunity. But someday I would love to go to a drag show. But I do watch them on, like, YouTube and stuff. So I've seen them. I've just never gotten to be at one. They look just delightful.
And so I'm going to say to the businesses in those states, when I recruit employees, I'm going to beat you every goddamn time. And I'm going to enjoy it.
The other thing, they're passing tons of trans laws so that trans people can't get the medication they need anymore.
Because your
and
legislature
they're
knows better
fucking-
than your doctor about what should be going on with your body chemistry.
Well, again, this is the whole concept of small government, right?
So this all started with them claiming
It's
that
just big enough to get in your vagina.
this all started with them claiming that they were going to, just protect the kids, right? Because that's what they always say. It's about the kids. So they were going to stop it at 18. But people who are well over the age of 18 are being affected by this. So this is problematic. And the reason why is because they were lying to you. They always intended it to be about everybody.
Yes.
And it's all bullshit, and it's all like outrage, ridiculousness.
It's exactly like rape. It's not about sex. It's about control.
Yeah, no, I kept finding these stories about, oh, there's this transgender kid that was pushed by the school or something. So I tried to hunt it down. And when I hunt it down, right, it leads me to another, one right-wing rag, to another right-wing rag, to another right-wing rag, to another right-wing.
And never to resembles evidence.
Yeah.
Right, and
Never
then
anything Google outside itself Googleable.
No, the way you know it's not true is every now and again you'll stumble across another story from a different state, right?
Yeah.
So you have this, and it's the same story, but it's from a different state, so you
Yeah.
know it's not the same story. Right. There's no way it can be the exact, daughter, and mom, and she was pushed to become trans, and this and that, and no, you can't have the same story in every fucking state. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
So beware
now.
of that.
I mean, come on,
That
you've missed the
they
big story.
truly are an echo chamber, and it is just disturbing.
Yeah. No, you've missed the big story, though. Now there's hypnoporn that can turn a cisgendered man into a trans. Yeah. So, if anybody knows where I can find some of that porn, I want to see it. But until then, the people who talk about it are just stupid.
I think they were probably trans the whole time, and watching that porn made them realize that they needed that in their life for real.
I am not Googling hypnoporn. Hang on.
Why not?
Because I'm going to get something else that's much lamer.
Yeah, it'll be like weird spirals in the background of people fucking.
No, it'll be girls getting like bullshit hypnotized, and they just lay there like dead people.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
What the
fucked up.
fuck,
That's
man?
not okay.
You
Yeah,
fucking
don't
shoot.
That's
don't
what
watch that kind of porn. That's not okay.
I was looking for cartoons of bears.
Yeah.
Don't Google bears.
Okay, and this also leads into anti-gun legislation.
Only if Democrats are too stupid to fucking breathe.
That's my point. My point is that they're putting in a lot. They're trying to encourage people to do, firearms bans. Here's the problem. As I've said previously in this show, the genie's out of the bottle. You can't put it back. Every person in America, there's more guns in America than people. Okay, there are 3 guns for every American in America. So you're never getting those guns back. It's just not happening. This is not the argument to have. Do you want to know how to stop violence? Raise the minimum wage. Focus on health care, okay? These are things that you need to do to make sure that your people are living better, and then they don't need to kill people or whatever the case may, rob people, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would certainly help.
It would help a lot, and it'll stop the conspiracy theories, the falsehoods, all this stuff. If you just did one thing, raise the minimum wage, you would be shocked to see how much is going to change almost overnight here in America. Yeah. It'll be surprising.
Did you find any hypnoporn yet? Oh, well.
So, as far as any anti-gun legislation goes, Democrats shut up about the anti-gun push. You're pushing the wrong thing here.
There are 2 problems with the Democrats as a whole on that issue. The first is that about 80% of Democrats know absolutely nothing about guns. Yeah. They're terrified of them. And then they're more than willing to open their mouths and look like fools. And they do it routinely. Yeah. The second thing is, if you poll, should we do something about guns? You get a poll that says, yeah, we should do something about guns.
Everyone likes ice cream.
But if you make any, if you make any specific proposal, you've got no support for it. So there are really only 2 areas where there's anything approaching broad support. One of those is don't let the crazies have guns, right? And the second is send the ATF to the gun shows, right? Make it easy for people at gun shows to check the background of the person they're selling to and make sure they do it.
Well, because I think that the only thing that I would feel is appropriate in this instance is let's get some minimum 5-day wait periods. Okay, so you buy the gun, go back and get it in 5 days. And you know, background checks. I mean, we really need to push these background checks because
we do background checks.
That's
you
not
have to.
happening. Yeah,
They are happening. There's a database. They check it. It works.
No,
Is it perfect? No database is perfect. Ted Kennedy was on the no-fly list.
Yeah.
I'd love to know who put him on it. That's hilarious.
and no, there are people who can private sell guns in certain states that they do not need to
Again,
get background.
that,
So that needs to stop, is what I'm saying.
I do the gun shows. That's the only one you're going to find any support for.
Yeah.
If I want to sell a weapon to my neighbor, you're not going to get a law passed.
We went down that path with weed. It didn't go well.
Yeah. So,
Do not want the government to be the size and shape required to enforce that.
yep. We are still recording, right? We're just
Yes. Seems like
technical problems that solve themselves. Good.
So far, so good.
All right, let's move on to the Silicon Valley bank failure and the ridiculousness that came out of the wake of that. That was stupid.
I love this Silicon Valley. No, that's actually north of the place you're talking about. It's Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Silicone is different. Anyway, I'm just making fun of it. Silicon Valley Bank is a perfect, it's just the poster child for the mismanagement of the bank and the failure of the regulatory agencies. They knew, they just didn't do anything. So the good news is we got out of Silicon Valley Bank without, putting any real money into it. The same thing was true. It was the second one to fail. I've forgotten. And now we have a third
Signature.
one failing.
Yeah. First Republic is now failing.
Yeah.
But wasn't this all caused by the same thing with the first bank? So then other people started taking money out of other banks?
It made people very conscious of it, right? What happened at Silicon Valley Bank was they were in a bad position. They were probably insolvent, on the verge of insolvency, and their rich depositors ran away, leaving a handful of rich depositors and what are called sticky accounts, which are the less than 250,000. The people who can't call the bank and say, send my money to, So that's what happened at Silicon Valley. And they were put in a situation which developed and they didn't do anything to fix it. They had a bunch of low interest rates loans out, and interest rates are going up, and they didn't do anything to repair that as they went along. So when it came time for people to run and get their money, they had the assets to pay them off, but they couldn't run to the market and sell them and get anything like what they're actually worth. Right, so we stepped in and provided liquidity, and in that process we saved all the depositors. Okay, fine. But again, the regulators knew that bank was fragile and did nothing. Right? Because, burdensome regulations and so forth, and they didn't want to attract the attention of a Republican Congress, and fuck this. You write the laws and you enforce the sons of bitches. And when somebody interferes with that, you charge them with obstruction of justice, take them to court, and then escort them to a federal prison.
Should have insured them up to $250,000, like it says in the rules. Now, the rules may need updating.
No,
every American lives and breathes by the fucking.
What we did was we destroyed the shareholders of Silicon Valley Bank. They didn't get a nickel.
Yeah.
They did the same thing to Credit Suisse. The bondholders are dead, gone. Their entire investment is gone. That certainly is the right first step.
I'm sure Criminal Bank will be back.
Well, I don't know. you may be right, letting a few major shareholders get really, really hurt. I mean, I might set that level at 500,000,
Pascal wouldn't say that.
but no, again, there are some fragile banks out there, and the regulators know who they are, and they have now waited, it may be, well, clearly too long for Republic Bank, right?
Yep.
So, again, enforce the goddamn regulations.
Yep.
All right.
Well, we don't have the people to. Only 40% of our workers are actually federal employees, and the rest are temps.
Oh,
And-
weird. It's like capitalism doesn't work. It's like unrestrained.
It's time to raise the wages for those people, get some good ones in, and do the goddamn job.
Barely
And the thing that's going to make that hard is that the rethugs are paid not to enforce these regulations.
I agree with the kid who says we're going into global financial collapse because the Republicans think it would be slightly easier to argue someone other than Biden in the face of global downturn.
All right. If y'all want to hear more about the Silicon Valley bank failure, comment, like, subscribe, let us know. Let's move on.
Bankers from helicopter.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover, so I want to kind of scoot through this.
Okay.
Fox, Tucker, January 6 videos, Dominion lawsuit, and Tucker was fired. So we got a lot to talk about here. Thank God Tucker's gone. King Tom, which is dead. Not really. He made another. He posted a video the other day saying he's alive and well, basically.
He's already starting his redemption arc.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt CNN and MSNBC are frothing at the mouth to be the helping hand in that. They've never failed to in the past. When you realize the hyper-partisanship is the problem, when you step outside of the echo chamber of Washington, you realize that all these fights are dumb and no one will remember what happened in 5 years, and the kids that die will.
Yeah.
So Fox fired Tucker.
The 13-year-olds who die in childbirth will remember. You helped to do that, Chucky.
The Monday after they lost their lawsuit to Dominion. Well, should I say Dominion won their lawsuit against Fox?
They settled.
What I should say. They settled for $800 million.
Yep.
Yeah. So lots of money. And the Monday after, Tucker Carlson was told 5 minutes before it was announced on air that he was no longer with the company. His last sign-off for his show was Friday, and he said he'd be back on Mondays. He had no idea this was coming. And it smacked him like a cold, dead fish. So, yay!
Cool.
Fuck him. That makes me happy because we won't have to do any more deep dives into Tucker Carlson rants. So,
Fox
I mean,
can now
Apple, I'm sure
pin
you're
all
excited
their
about
troubles on Tucker Carlson, who is a good candidate. So.
Also, fucking dum-dum in the government decided to give Tucker a bunch of videos, so he'd release some of those videos to make it look like people were just hanging out.
Kevin McCarthy, that's who.
Look,
Holly, and I knew that was wrong.
and
Kevin McCarthy, the key man, is trying to crash the economy. Yep. So when you lose your job, you can thank Kevin McCarthy. Way to go, Kevin.
And he got a lot of backlash for that, and that didn't go well for him. So yay.
He's still Speaker of the House. It's going fine for him.
No, it didn't go well for Tucker. He got Tucker Carlson got a lot of backlashes for trying to paint it as some wonderful little.
That Fox stopped pushing it.
Yeah, he never talked about it again. He showed that one set of videos, and it went so badly that it was like it never happened. They never spoke of it again.
Good.
So I'm telling you, Tucker Carlson did get blasted for that.
Fox can be taught. Tucker Carlson can't.
It could be part of the reason why he was fired. Don't know.
Tucker
Nobody
Carlson
knows.
is just a performer. He's going to say whatever he thinks
And he
the
was
audience wants to hear.
And he was a threat for being too big for Fox to control.
All right. So, what's going on with the war in Ukraine? Anybody got updates?
Russia continues to lose.
Yes.
They arrested the kid for leaking the documents to his gamer buddies.
That's right. Yep. There was some kid who was working in
Air National Guard.
Yeah.
It was a unit that was responsible for providing intelligence data to a user, and he was an IT specialist.
Yeah.
And because of that, he had access to machines that contained very highly classified data.
And he started looking through them without permission and started sharing that information with his friend group, gamers, I guess. And yeah, didn't go well for him. So.
Yeah. Well, and we now find out recently there were a number of earlier indications that he might not be the person you want to give a high clearance to.
Do you have something other than the Molotovs?
Wanted to convert his band to a kill wagon and kill lots of people because it made the species better.
Yeah, you want to kill the mentally subnormal or weak-minded or something, which, again, is one of those wonderful phrases that is very much in the eye of the beholder and owner of the murder van. So,
but these apparently had been set in places that one would typically expect a single source background investigation to have discovered. So, this is not a crackerjack clearance this boy had.
I have no idea whether that's true or not.
Well, that's again, my experience is with the ones I've gone through, which were quite thorough.
Agreed. No, back when the military used to do its own background checks, that was impressive. But now that they don't for whatever fraction.
True.
And back specifically to the Russian Ukraine war, Putin has had his eyes on Poland for a bit. Am I wrong in this? I feel like he's given Poland the stink eye.
Oh, he wants all of that back. He thinks that's all part of Greater Russia.
And doesn't he have this new missile or something that he was touting about? Some new tank or something? Some new piece of...
Russia's always got a new thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even have one.
He's been shouting about this.
I'll give you a good example of their top-of-the-line military equipment, right? Moskva. Right?
This is the new missile.
Moskva is the cruiser that got sunk.
Yeah.
Because its anti-aircraft systems and anti-missile systems didn't work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then its damage control systems didn't work. And the cream of the Russian fleet sank.
Well, and they also crashed a plane over their own city recently.
Dumped bombs over their own city.
Oh, yeah. Russia dropped bombs over themselves, so good for them.
Yeah.
Well played. That's how you show them Ukrainians, we're willing to bomb ourselves. You should be scared. Anyway, nobody cares.
And so you must be running out of an apartment.
Let's move on. How do right-wing news sites spread their fake outrage stories? We briefly touched on this earlier. Spoiler alert, they quote each other, okay? Y'all know that. We don't need to discuss this. If you see any right-wing news say something and you can't find it anywhere else in the news sphere, they're just copying what they've heard from some other Republican right-wing rags. So don't.
No, it doesn't hurt that they have this gullible audience who doesn't know how to Google.
And doesn't care to do things that
I don't think it's that they don't know how to. I think it's they just choose not to. They choose to be ignorant, and that's fine.
That's
Everybody, you do you. You do you. All right. EPA water rule. What's going on with that? Does anybody know?
Yeah, 24 states have had the Clean Water Act canceled
Fun.
by another Trumpissy judge.
Sure that'll increase their water quality.
No, definitely.
Well, it gets rid of all them burdensome regulations about not pouring poisons in the water.
Yep.
It's not like you deserve clean water or anything.
All those rivers and reservoirs that we've spent decades cleaning after we fucked them up with like the tile industry and shit, we're now letting them,
That was the point of cleaning them up. Now we got to ruin them.
Yeah, now that they're all fresh and clean, we can certainly dump some shit in them. So, yay! Beware, your local water might become poisoned soon.
The thing to understand is that a single serious dumping incident can poison more water than you can believe.
Yep.
So, again, this is... Anyway.
This is going to be problematic, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so beware.
But again, another Trumpissy judge.
Yeah. Train derailments. Lots been happening there. There's been a lot of train derailments. It's not been good. They're not cleaning things up the way they should. People are now on property that is toxic, and, you know, get the fuck out of Dodge. If you live near a fucking railroad, get out of there. Not safe.
Well, and it's what has become the standard for American industry. Run it for maximum profit, right? Minimize maintenance, right? Minimize training for your people, minimize the number of people. So they have poorly maintained tracks. They have trains that are half again and twice as long as trains used to be.
And
those trains, if you trained your people right and you had the right safety equipment in place and made sure it worked,
so longer than they should be based on the track they're going to encounter.
Well, and longer than they should be based on the training of the people and the reliability of their safety equipment and so forth. Longer trains, you've got, if you look at the car in the middle, you have much higher forces acting on that car, right? Because now it's got a whole mountain of cars behind it trying to catch up when it's going downhill, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And again, there are safety systems that are supposed to communicate through every car right to the back end. If those don't work, then the train ought to stop right where it is until they do.
Right.
Yeah. But that's not profitable, so that's not what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right. And
as long as you have Republicans in the House and Senate, and God help you if you have the orange fucktard in the White House, you know, they'll do away with some more of them burdensome regulations, and they'll say it's up to the communities to clean up any spills.
They propose suspending the EPA's ability to regulate within 100 miles or 200 miles of any border, which is where 250 million Americans live.
Arkansas's child labor laws have gotten weird.
They would rather put your kids to work than give you a raise.
Yeah.
Well, and they want your kids to compete with you so they can drive down wages.
Well, their little hands can get way in the machines.
Yeah, that's true.
So be wary of this lowering.
We can't even enforce the rules that say you can't have a kid doing cleanup in a meat processing plant.
Well, that's the ones where you need their hands to get in the machine.
Yeah.
All the chopped up meat clogs the machine.
Again, this is one, you know, this doesn't happen by accident. This is a company turning a blind eye.
Absolutely.
And what it needs is to have a CEO charged, convicted, and imprisoned for 15 years.
Yep.
Right? Enforce the goddamn laws.
Yeah, that's
Especially when it's clear that the violations, and, you know, you hide them by saying, well, we had a subcontractor doing that. You're responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen in your fucking plant.
I think we need to get rid of this whole concept of like contractors and subcontractors, because all the companies do is use that as a way to fuck people.
It's a liability shield. They can always point to this company that's worth absolutely nothing and say, well, it's their fault. No, again, you are responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen in your
if somebody is working for you, whether they're a contractor or not, they're your employee. You are responsible, and that's what the law should say. But that's not what the laws say, so it is what it is. Arkansas lowered their child age working laws, increased the amount of hours they can work, and 9.5 other things, and it's bad. So let's just move on.
Well, no, it's great for Arkansas and all them small businesses that can hire teenagers now who they won't have to hire a real person. They can hire teenagers.
Well, they don't know you're at the labor board. We don't get paid overtime and 12 other things. Yeah, no.
George Santos's lies have continued. He's crazy.
Another great white dope.
Didn't he refund more money than he took in?
He did in the first quarter.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like, everything about him is weird.
I begin to see the pincers closing on him.
He started a fight. I don't remember what the fight was, but there was a fight, and it was crazy when they were trying to... Oh, that was the other thing that happened, when they were electing speaker.
Oh, yeah,
and it
15 votes.
Yeah, 15 fucking votes, and there was a fight in there with people.
Finally,
it was weird. It got weird, folks. It was crazy.
Republicans turned that lonely Adam McCarthy. I'm like, whatever.
Watching those was like watching hockey. You know, you didn't know what was gonna happen. Like shit was getting weird. Somebody was drunk. Like shouldn't be drunk on the floor. I feel like that's just me. I don't know. Like
well, and to get
maybe save that until after the end of the day.
Yeah, Congress, you're not. It's like pilots. You're not going to get them to not drink. Their job is trivial.
And to get his speakership, Kevin McCarthy made all the maggot promises they wanted him to make. So
did they get him down to one person can fire him?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Can call the vote.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And what has the stacked Supreme Court been up to?
What Supreme Court?
Yeah.
The Supreme Kangaroo Court?
Yeah.
Every day we hear about more ethics
Yeah,
concerns.
Thomas has a Nazi friend. Well, collector of Nazi memorabilia.
Right.
Those
And
people always try to be so
the
funny.
one who defended him for his what was it? Accommodations, the $500,000 trips and stuff. Went on the trips with him.
Yes.
Bought his mom's house.
Bought his mom's house. She sold it.
Bought his mom.
Put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the house. You know,
It's
like
like
you do. That's
comes
what
with
you
a
do.
person. That's weird to me.
That's what you do for friends. You buy their parents' house and you fix it up for them. I mean, you know, everybody
that's a
does
good idea.
that. So again,
I see. So Clarence Thomas' mother is kind of like our yard dog.
Yeah.
The dog that came with the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, only they didn't move in.
And Roberts has an
the
ethics
house.
problem.
He doesn't live in the house.
Yeah,
He just
okay.
it'd be like leaving yard dog in the house alone. Is what it would be
Yeah.
like.
Okay.
You guys
Like
need-
buying the house and just leaving him in,
Giving it to yard
and
dog.
occasionally
Okay.
coming over and giving him food. You
So
know what
that
I mean?
some of this makes
You
some
guys see-
sense. When we went to buy this house, there were two dogs that had lived here for 15 years, and the young woman who had inherited the house had no place to put the dogs, and so she was worried about the dogs. And the last thing on earth she wanted to do was put them in rescue or, take them to the
They're old,
pound
so they're
and
dead
surrender
sure as
them
shit.
and-
Yeah.
yeah, and they're old dogs, and they were very set in their ways. They thought their job was to meet you at the gate and run to the house wagging their tails. That was their whole contribution to life here. And so we said to her, "What are you talking about? The dogs have lived here their entire lives, and they're perfectly welcome to stay." And so the two dogs stayed, and we're now down to one, and his name is House Dog.
Hell yeah.
So
You guys see the Chief Justice Roberts may have his own ethics problem.
I saw that his wife made, was it 1.2 million in legal consulting?
I thought it was 10.5.
Oh,
Let me go look.
I saw it was
But
millions.
you tell them the thing. I'll know in a second.
Trump got perp walked. That was fun. We all saw that. That was exciting.
Was he handcuffed?
no, he wasn't.
No.
And he hasn't been perp walked yet.
He's as close to being perp walked as you're gonna perp walk Trump. Okay.
You wanna bet?
And then I'm not going to lower the bar so America can yet again get a buy because 3% of Americans punched a Nazi once a long, long time ago and they're all dead now. So
I think Trump may have pissed off the special prosecutor. He may yet find himself handcuffed and dragged to a federal car.
Hopefully. One can only
10.3 million.
10.3 million. It's very lucrative to be the wife of the Chief Justice.
Well,
But this
apparently-
is... Go ahead.
Apparently, the affidavit the person submitted also points out how she completely rearranged her job after he became. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
To make maximum use of being his wife. Yeah, I love that.
Okay. So this has been a lot of fun. We're happy to be back on the air. We're looking forward, like I said earlier, to starting the show up again. We're going to do Tuesdays and Fridays to start. We'll let you know if we increase. And we always might throw in a random show if something exciting happens. So keep that in mind. But Tuesdays and Fridays. Fridays will be just the news. We'll do deep dives on Tuesdays. Anything we talked about in this show or anything that we didn't obviously get a chance to talk about, because I just wanted to do a quick overview of everything that's kind of happened since we've been gone. So comment, like, subscribe, tell us if you want to hear more about any of the things we talked about or something that maybe we just didn't have time to discuss. So feel free to comment and say you want to hear our take on this, that, and the other thing, or if you want me to research something for you. I'm more than happy to do deep dives on literally anything, any person, any place, any whatever. So let me know.
Except for the great white dope in Florida, whatever his name is.
And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review, smash that like button on YouTube. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no space on Facebook for fun memes, and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BoomerRexTonight, and if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. We love y'all. We'll see you back here on Tuesday. Okay, bye.
Did you see that apparently one of the detainees from Guantanamo remembers Lieutenant Commander Great White Dope from his time getting force-fed till he vomited?